Recently, Whatnot announced that they are cracking down on repacks and mystery packs. Everything has to go through, basically be legit. There's no gaming the system. There's no rigging the packs. There's no lying about the floors. There's no hiding the hits. There's no giving the hit to your friend somehow or another, which is, I mean, I don't know when and where it happened, but with the rules that were in place, aka no rules, uh, that was going to happen for sure. And also the barrier to entry to be able to sell live got lower. I think I saw recently, all you had to do was just click a button. Do you agree? Yes, I agree. I remember when I started, you had to go through a vetting process. You had to do a 1 hour Zoom call before you could go live, and they'd activate your account. So the barrier to entry was just so low, and there was a flood to get new sellers into the platform. And, when that happens, you get bad actors, not just any platform, in the hobby, around the space, around the world. 100 people, there's gonna be a few bad apples out of that 100. You know what I mean? So now it's getting more legit. But here's the thing that I think people are not factoring in with this. And me and my friend Brian from Sunday League Investors, we had a conversation. We had a dinner almost 3 years ago, and we saw this coming from a mile away. And I remember asking, like, how do you think this thing plays out, this whole mystery pack thing? Because there was a time, as I always like to say, during sports cards, there was a time during sports card shows where, for better or worse, it was just me and like three other people buying. And then now you go into a show, if you're semi-active in the hobby, you'll go to a show, you'll see signs over tables, no cards for sale. Even though, like I was doing this for years, I would go to a show with no cards for sale and just a sign that says buying because I would sell it online. Not through repacks, but actually sell them online. Now everyone is buying, everyone's a buyer. And I mean, you got to understand that the reason that is because either A, they would take those cards and run them through a repack on their, at their show, and they would game the system probably somehow because they can manipulate the floors, they can manipulate the prices and make sure that they end up profitable. Or B, they would sell them to someone else that was running those repacks. And you'll see them at shows. I always like to make this joke. There's shout out to my guys. I know that you guys are actually my friends, but you guys all have a certain look. You guys that supply the repackers and buy at shows, you guys have the same look. You have a suitcase, a rolling suitcase. You have a backpack. You have a laptop. You'll pull up to someone's show. You'll put the handle down on your case. You'll sit on your case. You'll whip out the laptop. And that's this clear-cut sign that someone is either A, running a repack, or B, supplying the repackers. So all that to say, I was having this conversation with my friend Brian a long time ago, and we're like, how does this even play out, And it took longer than I expected, but we knew they would have to just cool down eventually. Because it's a free money glitch for great people that play in the gray space. It's a free money glitch. People can put in all the work, or put in none of the work and get all of the money and then some, right? Because you can charge more than what the average sales of all those cards were. And I told stories about how prices on online sites will get manipulated because a repacker would buy the eBay sale just to show that, hey, this is not a $250 card. Look, it's a $500 card for the last sale, but they were the last sale. So there was things like that could happen, and it was just going to get cracked down eventually. And I always say that during that time, it was very important to build your relationships and build your pipelines and build your systems. Because like a lot of you guys, if you're new to the hobby, you don't know, but it was really dry at the card shows like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, really dry. No one was buying, illiquid. You had to trade your cards away because no one would buy them at a reasonable price, or a reasonable price to you where you wouldn't get crushed, right? So how does this play out? I mean, I know that TikTok is still doing repacks and they're not cranking down on it, but TikTok is going to be sold to, I think Oracle is going to be running the algorithm now. So it's going to be owned by American companies. Maybe they'll crack down soon. I don't know. But with Whatnot being one of the biggest places to move repacks or to move cards, and eBay doesn't partake in that, and Fanatics Live, I think, is not really at that space yet. Because one huge avenue of moving these gamified repacks now exists, a lot of people are out of business. Like put it that way, a lot of people are out of business. And for the casual observer and for the people that got in recently and they're like, wow, like I love kabooms. I love downtowns. I love these really hard to find cards because they're easy to sell. And the reason they've been easy to sell is because there was a whole outlet for them to move to. And that's a reason why in 2022, no one would bother you when you're walking in and you have a case and you're walking into a show. No one's going to come up to you and ask you, hey, what do you got for sale? What can I buy? What can I buy? Hey, what do you got? You know what I mean? All of a sudden in 2025 or 2026, you're the hot girl at the bar. You're walking in with a case and someone, hey, what do you got? What do you got? Let me buy some stuff from you. That is like foreign to me and the people that were in this hobby in 2022, 2021, 2020. That is foreign. You know what I mean? Like that is a very recent thing. So a lot of people have gotten used to that. It's like, wow, this is easy. This is easier than selling stocks. This is easier than selling clothes. This is easier than selling shoes. This thing that Whatnot, this outlet that Whatnot shut down, that was the reason why it was so easy. That was the reason why you love the kabooms. Why, I mean, granted, you could love the kabooms and you could love the downtowns because you like them, but that's the reason why those were so easy to sell. It's like, wow, this guy is able to pay 95% close to market. I'm not going to ask how he does it, but I'm going to sell it, you know? And then you go pay 95, you know, you close to market because you know you can sell it for a couple bucks more to somebody else. Those times are probably winding down. I think there's going to be a correction for sure. All these places that buy your cards legitimately, quote unquote, you know, is it Arena Club? Is it PSA? They're going to, you know, crack down and not pay as strong as they can. And at that point, I think it's going to be how many relationships did you build? How many pipelines? How active were you in the network? You know what I mean? How active were you at the shows? How reliable were you? How dependable were you? You know what I mean? For me, in the past 3 months, it's been crazy. Like I didn't have to go to shows because my phone has been active with people that trust me to buy and sell cards, with people that trust me to do business, and they don't have to go to shows because they're just going to come see me at the shows anyway. So it's all important to build those relationships. And it's what I've been saying for the past 6 months. You know what I mean? And I always kind of hinted, I told these guys like, look, yeah, you could sell that card more to someone else, but you better hope they buy it all. And you better hope they're still around in 6 months, in a year. And will they still be? I don't think all of them will be. Some will still be. Some will adapt. Sports card people are if you notice what I've noticed in the past, 3 years on Whatnot, the sports card people are always the quickest to adapt and always to find the next thing, just because there's natural born hustlers. You know what I mean? So it won't die out, I guess, but it will evolve. You know what I mean? And you better be at the forefront of that evolution. And I don't know, that's kind of like where I wanted to get off my chest. I didn't want to make a reel about it. I'll just come here and just talk straight, no edits. So, keep your eyes out for what's going on out there. Keep your eyes on the news and just see what's happening and get a temperature of how the show's going, how easy is stuff to move over the next 3 to 6 months. Because like I always say, don't get caught holding the bag. Maybe a year ago, you can go crazy buying 100 kabooms because you knew you would eventually move them. And, it didn't make sense really for how many downtowns there really were out there for how high the prices were, right? So, just be careful. Don't get caught holding the bag and, keep hustling out there. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. And actually, this will probably be a podcast too. So thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.